Hello friends, hope you are well. WA lockdown ended last week and masks end today, so there is reason to celebrate. But in today's stories, Google is not one of the folks who will be celebrating. Welcome to the Dirt Report, tech and telco news from all around Australia with some international tidbits. In today's episode, we have Media Code one step closer. NBN Co upgrades explode literally, but not physically. New fiber upgrade suburbs are named. Are you on the list? And Telstra to buy back their stores. New fiber backbone projects in the works. We've got a lot of topics today. And on the international side, we have Microsoft pushing the Aussie Media Code into the US. Make sure you like this video if you did. It helps with the Google algorithm, and subscribe to be notified of all new videos. And if you'd like to support us, you can tap the join button below. After all, it's unknown what will happen to channels like this in the new Media Code world. Let's roll the intro. Starting with the big news, our precious Media Code is one step closer, which means we are also one step closer to not using Google search. Now, Google and Facebook literally have days to come up with something and or anything to help their case against this media code. In fact, the media bargaining code could become law as early as Tuesday next week. So as of today, Sunday, that's 2 days away. I wonder if Google works weekends. This massive step comes after the Senate Economics Committee gave the tick of approval for the code, recommending it to go before Parliament last week. Now, our favourite Communications Minister Paul Fletcher and Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said in a joint statement, the government expects all parties to continue to work constructively towards reaching a commercial agreement in the spirit of collaboration and good faith encouraged by the code. The bill will now be considered by the Parliament from the week commencing 15th February 2021. The committee has recommended the bill pass without any amendments. It's pretty much good to go, which means the code would force Google and Facebook to negotiate payments with Australian news media organisations for showing their articles on Google search. Now, the committee has declared that Australian journalism has a right to live. Here is the committee's statement on that. The committee agrees that public interest journalism is more than just an ordinary consumer product that has been undermined or disrupted by new technology. Rather, it is a cornerstone of democracy. Ah, yes. Democracy, that one powerful word that for decades has been dropped from planes on countries with crude oil. In the spirit of democracy, the bill also includes a binding final offer arbitration process to be used if no agreement can be reached, which means Google will usually get the raw end of the deal, hence them pulling out of Australia. At this stage, this scenario is no longer a joke. We have Bing putting their hand up to work with the code, making themselves a bit of a teacher's pet, of course, and we have Google nearing the moment where we find out if they are bluffing. If not, they are giving up $4 billion in AdWords revenue, which will be up for grabs, and Bing is ready to catch. If you're interested, Casper and I did a video comparing Bing and Google. Check the channel for the video. What came out of this video is that Bing is 80% there, and many people won't even notice the difference when they switch to that. To add to that, the government has yet to come up with a cost-benefit analysis, and I wonder if they even looked at how businesses who have been sinking hundreds of thousands of dollars into Google AdWords survive. I guess they would just go back to paying for ads in the yellow pages. And I bet a lot of you feel really stupid right now for throwing out your latest copy of the yellow pages. Maybe it's still in the bin. Go check. I'm excited to see what happens next, just because it's been a boring year so far, don't you think? Let me know your thoughts below. Is Google bluffing, or will they pull Google search out of Australia? Let's move on. Last week, the NBN Co upgrade page beeped back to life as if some kids have found shock paddles in the attic and thought to test them out on this really dead thing right there, and accidentally brought the Technology Choice program back online. Now, abysmal analogies aside, it's back and better than ever. Not only has it survived a DDoS-like attack from thousands of people rushing to get their quotes, it has in fact skyrocketed in signups and money for NBN Co. This week, NBN Co announced it has received 9,274 applications, which of course means
it's over 9,000!
After only 1 week, these numbers are staggering, especially if you account for the fact that some people will be getting the upgrade for free anyway. just a lot later. People are paying for this early access, and that's all. Now, of that number, half came from fiber to node connections wanting pure, unadulterated fiber, but the gains don't stop there. Around 3,000 progressed beyond the first stage to a real quote. From last year's Technology Choice program, the average quotes were about $10,000, so it's not chump change, but 3,000 premises is not a large number either, and it's probably not something we should be too excited about. Bear with me. These 3,000 codes are likely people who actually need fiber, maybe in-home businesses or torrent enthusiasts. However, with Starlink now a potentiality in Australia, I think a lot of people who can afford the upgrade to fiber will actually just end up going to Starlink. Not only the people who get stupid quotes like 20, 30, 50k will end up on Starlink, it'll be a lot more. So I bet most of the current NBN fixed wireless and satellite customers will be going to Starlink instead of fiber upgrades. There is just no reason not to. This means that the upgrade numbers here are a bit low. Even if the news media is gushing over the numbers, the problem is there are now more options for customers. And I expect Fletcher to one day say that we never needed fiber upgrades, and that NBN Co copper approach was perfect, and their sale of NBN Co is great. Thumbs up. Nonetheless, let me know your thoughts below. Continuing on the NBN Co fiber upgrade bandwagon, this week they also announced the next set of suburbs added in line for an upgrade. The next 100,000 premises are part of the following suburbs. In Western Australia, Gurween, Kingsley, Wanneroo, Canning Vale, Jandakot South. In South Australia, Elizabeth, Jeeps Cross, Salisbury, Golden Grove, Victoria, Dean Park, Sydenham, Berwick, South, Cranbourne, Narran, Warren. God, you guys are going to kill me with the pronunciation. New South Wales, Campbelltown, Elderslie, Narral, Maitland, Singleton, Taro, New Lambton, Bathurst, Orange. And in Queensland, Albury Creek, Ashgrove, Bald Hills, Ferny Hills, Townsville, Robina, Burleigh Heads, and that's it. If you're one of those suburbs, make sure to smash the like button on this video, and if you're not, then make sure to smash the subscribe button so you can see when you are. Let's move on. In a strange chess move, Telstra has decided to buy back its brick and mortar stores. The announcement follows the 10% drop in total income to 12 billion and 14.7% decline in EBIT to 4.1 billion and 2.2% drop in NPAT to 1.1 billion headline. While a drop in money at Telstra is generally blamed on NBN and not their own behavior or treatment of customers, in this case Telstra is chasing the omnichannel approach to improve their customer experience. By taking control of their own stores, it gives them more flexibility in the online and in-store experience. The short and sweet would be that if you call up Telstra because your Telstra modem has an issue, you could then walk into your Telstra shop and get it solved immediately, after getting your case ID or whatever, rather than getting to that Telstra shop and having to mail it back to Telstra and so on. Kind of like multiple steps to achieve one thing. It just means that when you have an issue with Telstra and you're in the Telstra shop, they can't say, sorry, we can't help you because only the Telstra online support can. So you walk out of the shop, look up at the logo and wonder, what the actual at a rolling donut? Am I in a Telstra shop or what? Telstra has more than 60 Telstra owned and operated stores, with another 166 branded stores run by individual licensees and a further 104 stores operated by the Vita Group. Now, Vita Group and individual licensees have been notified of the plan, with discussion and transition agreements expected to progress over the coming months and may take up to 18 months. The decision does not include Telstra Business Technology Centres or T partner operators. Here is what CEO Andy Penn had to say. We think now is the right time to bring back ownership to ensure a consistent and integrated customer experience across our online channel and entire store network. At the height of COVID last year, we were able to redeploy frontline staff from Telstra-owned stores to assist customers through our digital channels or via the phone. It's the flexibility that we'll be able to unlock as more retail branded stores are under Telstra's ownership. He has a point, and good luck to them. It should bring a better customer experience, and that's always a good thing. But is this the right move for Telstra? Let me know your thoughts below. Let's jump into our next story. From the man who brought you NextDC, Megaport, and Superloop comes a new venture, a new challenge, and this time it's all about to go full fiber. Australian entrepreneur Bavin Slatty will be rolling out a national fibre network with 20,000 kilometres of fibre called Hyperscale. The announcement was sent out via copper lines to his social media platforms. Here's what he had to say on LinkedIn. Pleased to announce we are building a 1.5 billion new hyperscale backbone for Australia, the first truly private national backbone with more bandwidth than every other backbone ever built. Hyper-1. Hyper-1 will provide greater national resiliency, enable future industries such as space, cloud, satellite, new undersea cable landing points all around Australia. Our existing backbone networks are on average 20 years old, and the newest network was built back in 2003. Really? When the Nokia 3310 was Australia's newest phone. 85% of Australian internet connections were still dial-up, and Friends was still on TV. Built before cloud, the iPhone 3G, let alone 4G, 5G, it's time for Australia to have tomorrow's network today. What words, what fancy words. With a point well made, this is great news for businesses and RSPs alike. And actually Australia, it's pretty good, man. Imagine that, someone actually thought, hell, I think Australia needs this. It looks like Hyper-1 will be the largest private independent digital infrastructure project in Australia's history and will be capable of carrying over 10,000 terabits per second, more traffic than every other national backbone built in Australia's history combined. Now, a lot of Australian history records to break. Exciting, yes. Will it work? Unknown. So let me know your thoughts below. Before we jump into our international tidbits, make sure to like this video and subscribe. If you'd like to support us, tap the join button below. Microsoft is certainly in the news this year, more often than not in a positive light. So what's going on? Are spreadsheets getting a bit of a sexy makeover? Well, not so much. It seems Microsoft wants to be the leader in internet reform. You know, if you can't beat them, then try and get a first world country like the US to take them down. Google. And if that doesn't work, just join them after that. This week in a blog post, Microsoft President Brad Smith has outlined his thoughts as to why the United States of America should bring in an Australian-like media bargaining code. This, of course, should take precedence over universal healthcare, but I digress. Google nor Facebook is happy this year. Apple has taken them on over privacy transparency, and now Microsoft is calling them out and trying to get the US government backing. Here is what Brad Smith had to say. Dominant tech properties like Facebook and Google will need to invest in transparency, including by explaining how they display news content. Even more importantly, the legislation will redress the economic imbalances between technology and journalism by mandating negotiations between these tech gatekeepers and independent news organizations. The goal is to provide news organizations with compensation for the benefit derived by tech gatekeepers from the inclusion of news content on their platforms. This highlights the symptoms of a deeper two-sided disease. On the one hand, the internet and social media have unfortunately become powerful engines of disinformation and misinformation, and first pioneered by the Russian government in the 2016 US elections, the disinformation disease has spread much more broadly. Without new and greater restraints, there is a growing risk that more politicians and advocates will exploit the algorithms and business models underlying social media and the internet to turn disinformation into a new political tactic of choice. And on that bombshell, we have to end this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like this video if you did and subscribe to see more. Thanks for watching. Catch you all in another one. Bye!